We have an account of a spark falling from a star and increasing as it approaches the Earth, until it became the size of the moon, shining as through a cloud. It afterwards...
Start it over.
Let me start over.
Start over. Here we go. I'm going to give you some dramatic music when you start, all right? You ready?
No. We have an account of a spark falling from a star and increasing as it approaches the Earth, until it becomes the size of the moon, shining as through a cloud. It afterwards returned into the heavens and was converted into a lampus. This occurred in the consulship of Octavius and Scribonius. It was believed by Silenus, the proconsul.
It was seen by Silenus, the proconsul.
Proconsul. That makes more sense. Sorry. I'm going to start over.
Okay. I'm going to give you some real dramatic music so you can really get it right. You ready?
More green juice.
Are you ready? 1, 2, 3.
Oh!
All right, let me for her edit, let me do it again. We have an account of a spark falling from a star and increasing as it approached the Earth, until it became the size of the moon, shining as though a cloud. Damn it.
Through.
I didn't touch it until you messed up.
The All About Nothing podcast may have content and language that isn't appropriate for some. Listener discretion is advised. Recorded live from GOT Sound Studio in Lexington, South Carolina. I'm Amii from the Welcome to Wonderland podcast, and this is the All About Nothing podcast. With Zach King, Trent Clark, and my bestie, Barrett Gruber. I am Amii Bland, hostess of the Welcome to Wonderland podcast, and I'm taking over this episode of the All About Nothing podcast. Welcome to the show, the man with the shortest attention span, Trent Clark.
Accurate.
Hello.
Welcome also, the man who could probably take his talents on the road, but lacks direction, Zach King.
Also accurate.
And last, and probably least, the man who once had his back waxed to make knockoff wigs for the rich and famous, Barrett Gruber.
That is not the joke I wrote.
Wow.
That is not the joke I wrote.
DJ Fuzzy.
I'm not.
I know it's not given to me, yes.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Can't lie.
It's the joke I wrote.
Definitely was not the joke I wrote.
I guess all the writers on our strike.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's exactly right.
All right, so the housekeeping piece is here. Please subscribe to the show. Subscriptions drive searches, and that's how they get new listeners. Please also consider supporting them financially by visiting patreon.com/theallaboutnothing. I did it.
That's true every month.
And to make it, it auto drafts.
Yeah.
And to make it easy, you can head to our website, their website, theallaboutnothing.com for links and details. Also, if you're listening to them on Apple Podcast and you think they're worth it, and they are, give them a review and punch them up to 5 stars.
That all sounds accurate.
Sounds good to me.
That's okay. If you're not on Apple, give them one of those thumbs up.
We love thumbs up.
Share the episode with your family or friends. And follow on Twitter at AAN_pod and interact.
Yeah. That works.
All right, we got
Perfect.
shout outs. They're shout outs. They're not my shout outs, though.
Oh.
Do you want to do them or you want me to do them?
I can do it. Well, I'll just do them. So thanks. Bill Kemmler last week was with us. That was fun. He confessed to his love for Zach.
He did.
And it got awkward.
Unrequited love.
If you want to see it, go on the YouTube. It's available on YouTube.
And he hates pins.
And you ruined his political career.
We did.
Potentially ruined his political career.
I feel like we've been ruining a lot of people that's been on this
We're
podcast.
good for it.
Yeah. I mean,
Trump, there's a seat for you here.
look, if the check doesn't clear,
You know?
we're going after you.
I'm going to have to do something.
Also, I think we did have an update from John Kosis on the Fireflies, so appreciate John Kosis Jr. from the Columbia Fireflies for giving us those updates. You went to the game Saturday, right?
I went to the game Saturday, brought my son, man.
My mom was there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It was a great game, man.
Yeah.
How come we don't ever go to one all together?
Well, I called Barrett. He said, I'm not going to this one.
Yeah, it was a Saturday night. I wasn't going Saturday night.
He didn't call me.
Oh,
Well, I was.
do we want to get into that?
Yeah, we can.
Would Zach have gone?
We can
No.
get into that
What was I
because
doing on
Zach, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna be fake. I called him because he had better seats. So I was like, I was actually calling Barrett to be like, hey man, what about those seats you got? He didn't offer them though, so don't worry. We was in the burn.
Someone's already got them.
I didn't have those seats on
You know,
Saturday
it's only
night.
like $5 more to not be in the burn.
Yeah, I guess.
Look, this is what I did. I bought burn tickets, and then we sat at the nice picnic tables that nobody else was at. Me and my
Those
son.
are nice, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah,
There you go.
we was good.
So
I'll-
ColumbiaFireflies.com.
Yeah.
Go check out.
On Sunday, I built a workbench.
Yeah.
Looks nice.
And then
Shout out to who? You went to Lowe's or Home
No,
Depot?
no, he's-
I went
he
to, I
just
went to
bought
Lowe's,
wood.
but I built it myself
This is not on my list.
from Skrizak.
There's no shout out for that.
I'm shouting myself out. God damn it! Come on now.
All right. Well, with that out of the way, we'll go ahead and get started. So Amii is here, of course, to well, I guess how would you describe it? So basically, it's been a year. It's almost been exactly a year
Yeah,
since Amii was
actually-
on the show.
And a year before that, we were like, "You should do this."
I was on May the 4th.
Yeah,
I
that's
remember
right.
I made Star Wars cocktails.
Correct.
Yeah.
For my other project that kind of...
Speaking of the May the 4th be with you, the Fireflies game was
Star Wars.
was
night.
Star Wars night, which is
Yeah.
kind of crazy.
May the Sith be with you.
Return
Revenge of the
Sith.
Sixth.
Whatever.
Revenge.
Return or revenge, whatever. It's all good.
But that was probably one of the best
You're right.
episodes.
It
we've
smells
had.
like nerd in here. That's,
I'm full of nerd.
It's
We were
right
talking-
over here.
We were talking D&D before this started.
It's true.
so, but yeah, Fireflies had their big thing. They're on the road for 2 weeks. So
Yeah, it sucks because I was gonna go to a game this week.
there's always the Carolina baseball is always in town.
No, they're not. They were there yesterday, and
They're
now
almost
going the way to
always in
Arkansas.
town.
Yeah.
Y'all are messing up Amii's show.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and
Yes.
This isn't all about nothing.
All
We'll
right,
let Amii
so,
get.
so this is my show. All right. And what I'm going to do now is actually just kind of launch into my show.
Is there
So-
alcohol in this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Barrett's like, I'm allergic.
I'm not running anything, so
So I'm going to launch into my show. Basically, I'll edit all of that all about nothing stuff out of my episode.
Understand?
yeah,
Understand?
we're gonna leave it all in.
Well, sure. It makes sense for you.
No, I mean we're gonna leave this in.
Well, fun. That's fun for me. Anyway, so for the All About Nothing guys, actually, we'll just go to this. So, hi guys, and thank you so much for joining me on this very special crossover podcast event. I'm here with the host from another podcast that is part of Barrett Gruber Entertainment and Media and the GOT Podcast Network, my Papa Pod, if you will, the All About Nothing podcast.
I like it.
Joining me today are Trent Clark, Zach King, and Barrett Gruber.
Hi.
What's going on?
You know who we are.
It's our pleasure to be in Wonderland.
I am thoroughly surprised we didn't step on each other on that one.
No,
that
because
because normally
We didn't want to mess her up.
We got the Budweiser thing timed down.
Yeah.
All right, this show is a little different today because it's part Welcome to Wonderland and part The All About Nothing. For them, this is more or less a live show, and they'll be posting on Monday, as usual, as an All About Nothing episode. For me, I'll go home and do some editing. And then the Welcome to Wonderland version will also be posted on Monday, May 15th, which, for those of you keeping up with me, is the 1-year anniversary of the first episode of Welcome to Wonderland.
Hey.
For my listeners, you're familiar with my format, but since All About Nothing listeners may not be, this is for them.
Okay.
Basically, what I do is I get a topic that I or my listeners are curious about, and I dig in. I let myself go down rabbit holes and potentially change directions a lot of times while I'm researching whatever the topic may be. I then ask people around me questions related to that topic. Zach and Barrett are regular participants.
Yeah.
When I edit Welcome to Wonderland together, I splice in the answers from people I've interviewed with the research I've done. Typically, each of my episodes is only about 20 or 25 minutes, and this one we're going to be a little bit longer, since it is technically an All About Nothing episode also. And those guys are long-winded. I've done episodes on the history of podcast, happy hour, Halloween, and radio as some examples. When I think All About Nothing is categorized as improv, comedy, politics, that kind of thing, Welcome to Wonderland would be classified as educational or informative and is suitable for all ages.
Agreed.
Some would say we ain't got no education on this end.
And you're the corrector, so it only makes sense.
I feel like we think we're overly educated.
Yeah, we're confidently dumb.
When we come in here, we
I don't wanna
we got
say-
our doctorates.
I don't want to say which of us is the most educated.
Me, I went to school for 7 years. Come on, guys.
That don't make you smarter than everybody. That makes you dumber because you went longer.
College? Come on, man.
It's 7. You're supposed to be 4 years, sir. You're not a doctor.
College?
Regular
Come on.
Van Wilder over
You're
there.
not a doctor.
Seriously, but it was not fun.
All right, so to start out, I always have to wonder about something.
I wonder.
Yeah, this is really so I can put in my wonder montage.
I wonder.
I wonder.
Doo-doo.
You're supposed to say I wonder.
Oh, I'm supposed to say that? Oh, I mean, was that in the notes?
No. He's never listened to it.
No, sorry.
I wonder.
I wonder.
I wonder.
I wonder. That's fun. All right, so for this episode, we tossed around a variety of topics from automobiles to baseball to the NFL, but we decided on a topic that is out of this world. Any thoughts on what that topic might be?
Them aliens.
That green stuff.
So if I'm gonna guess, am I not supposed to know, or am I supposed to know?
It's fine.
Okay, UFOs.
Yeah. So today we're going to be discussing UFOs and aliens. But before we can really get into that rabbit hole, we have to start at the top. What is a UFO?
It is an unidentified flying object.
Yeah, I agree.
Same.
Yeah, so they nailed it. This is an unidentified flying object, a term historically used to describe aircraft that aren't easily identifiable or explained. Air Force officer Edward Ruppelt, who investigated aerial phenomena in the 1950s, coined the term unidentified flying objects and UFOs. But an interesting fact on this one, the U.S. government uses a different phrase these days to disassociate from science fiction. Any guesses on what term they use?
Yeah, that's a UAP.
UAP,
Yeah, unidentified aerial phenomenon.
Perfect.
But they've also added some. You may be going to go over this, but they've added submersibles to it too.
Yeah.
No, we're only talking about the sky.
Oh, sorry.
They got to fly or they're not here.
So apparently there are aliens in the ocean too. We just
That's
Well,
why when
duh.
they go from the sky into the ocean, we're like, all right, wrap it up. We're done here.
Yeah, we're not going down there.
Not going down
that
there.
never happens.
only
So
place
they
we
use
won't
the
explore.
phrase unidentified aerial phenomena, or UAPs.
Yep.
Good job. So if we're going to talk about things that fly, first we're going to go higher and talk about what is flight.
Oh,
Flight is movement through air.
is it anything? Is it I guess that would be the most logical.
But I guess you would
answer
have to
it.
actually define it a little bit more to if you're going to say flight sustained. Sustained.
But
Chickens can technically fly, but they can't fly long distances.
This
my
is-
mother
this
would
is-
love to
you
have
had
this
that
argument
conversation,
because
yeah, like a turkey can fly. It's
chickens can't fly; they jump.
Jump. Yeah, and then they
Which is the
soar.
same with birds.
But if they're flapping
Birds-
their wings, that's their definition of their flight.
Then there's got to be a distance equivalent for like, all right, that's sustained.
Okay,
flight.
I'm gonna give you a prime example. If somebody's a long jumper and he can't jump as long as other people, you're not gonna say he's not a long jumper. He just can't jump as far as other people.
he's still a jumper.
So he's a long jumper. He's jumping farther than you and me.
That's what I'm trying to say. So he
I
still
totally
can
wanted
fly.
Trent- I
We
totally-
can't fly.
I wanted Trent to be like, "No, you don't know how far I can jump."
Well, I used to be a long jumper.
Did
you?
Yeah.
This feels like an what is kind of conversation. 'Cause
Oh, I'm waiting for
flight is there's not many other words.
I'm waiting for the Carl Tuckerson gotcha.
Now, ostrich, I never seen fly, but a chicken, I've technically seen a chicken fly to get away.
Chickens don't fly.
They do. They flap their wings and they get up for a little bit and then they come down.
If they don't migrate, they don't fly.
Yeah, I could go with that.
Nah, man. I mean, give us the correct answer of flight, please.
So flying is the process by which an object moves through an area without touching a planetary surface. This flight takes place within an atmosphere, such as in aviation, or through a vacuum of outer space, as is the case with space flight. Flight is typically achieved in one of three primary ways: by generating aerodynamic lift associated with gliding or propulsive thrust, aerostatically using buoyancy, or by ballistic movement. So aerostatic flight or buoyant flight is a method by which the device stays aloft using buoyancy, which gives the aircraft the same overall density as air. So what kinds of things do you think use buoyant flight?
Balloon,
Yeah.
like a
Weather
like
balloon or
weather
something?
balloons. What else? A kite? No, a kite uses lift.
Yeah.
Trying to think of.
I think a balloon, if you're going to talk about the buoyancy, where it's making itself as dense equal to the air surrounding it.
Or maybe a helicopter.
Yeah, because with a hot air balloon, the reason you're heating up the air is to make the air less dense,
Than the air around it.
than the air around it. So
A helicopter actually technically doesn't fly. I mean, I guess to that definition it does.
So
but
you're saying a chicken and a helicopter can't fly? Is what you're saying?
helicopters beat the air.
but
down.
but a helicopter uses lift as well
Yeah,
because
yeah.
the rotator, the
Balloons.
yeah.
Aerostats include balloons, both free balloons, such as hot air balloons, and moored balloons, which are tethered, such as the balloons in the Macy's Day Parade,
I'm always tethered.
as well as airships like the Goodyear blimp.
The blimps.
So aerodynamic flight comes in many different forms, which can be powered or unpowered. I'm going to borrow directly from Wikipedia on this one because it's very concise. Some things that fly do not generate propulsive thrust through the air. For example, the flying squirrel. This is termed gliding. Some things can exploit rising air to climb as raptors when gliding and man-made sailplane gliders. This is termed soaring. However, most birds and all powered aircraft need a source of propulsion to climb. This is termed powered flight. So can you think of some examples that would be considered aerodynamic flight, either powered or unpowered?
Chickens.
No, man. She just basically
Unpowered.
the squirrel glides, so he's gliding using his
Just like a chicken.
The chicken jumps up and he's in the air flapping around. He can
can't
flap
sustain-
around for a little bit,
A chicken cannot sustain
at least
flight.
3 seconds.
They don't have to sustain flight to fly.
Well, we're gonna have to-
Exactly. That's what I'm trying to
let's-
tell y'all.
Let's just sustain this. All right. All right. So other things that fly, airplanes.
Yeah.
I mean, you have bottle rockets,
Helicopters.
helicopters, jets,
Very small rocks.
bullets.
That's a very small rock.
Yeah, very small rocks.
Bullets technically do fly, I guess.
No,
Sure.
Well, yeah, but
They were
But
given
remember, there's
power.
a third type of flight.
yeah.
So for the aerodynamic flight, there are countless examples in the animal world, from birds, including chickens, to insects to bats. In the mechanical world, there are airplanes and helicopters and spacecraft.
Yeah.
So finally, that third type we were talking about, ballistic flight. While aerodynamic flight creates lift, ballistic flight includes little to no lift and moves primarily under the action of momentum, gravity, and in some cases, thrust. Can you think of some examples that would be considered ballistic flight?
Yeah. The bottle rocket.
The bottle rocket, yeah. Well, yeah.
Bottle
no,
rocket.
No, it's not moving under momentum.
Yeah.
It's given thrust until it's dead, and then it becomes ballistic, I would reckon.
Because the
Rockets.
sparks come down first
If
and
you're
then
doing
it
that,
pushes it up, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Bullets, because it has one. As soon as it's shot, there's no more thrust for it.
Right.
So that would be like cannonballs would have done the
Yeah.
same thing.
Yeah.
Catapults, that would have done that.
Slingshots?
Slingshots, for
slingshot's
sure.
a good
That
one.
was the other one, yeah.
And you got very small rocks. See? See?
That's all you were
Baseballs,
doing.
baseballs,
Comes back around.
I see what you're doing, brother.
baseballs, footballs.
Technically, because footballs do fly, technically.
Balls, arrows. Now I gotta start it over for mine. Don't laugh. I'm gonna say the word balls, okay?
Maybe you should say another word and then say
Balls. Okay. Arrows, balls, fireworks, and bullets are all ballistic flight.
Okay.
Spacecraft is also considered ballistic flight, which almost gets us to where we're going on this trip to Wonderland. We've talked about we've talked about what flight is and some of the things that fly, but all of these things are identifiable and explained, so none of these things are UFOs.
Until they're identified.
That's true. What just hit me? When do you think?
Foul ball. Sorry.
Oh, that's probably a.
When do you think the first reported UFO sighting was?
Oh, year one. Man, trying to start a fire going, what the hell is that?
Nah, I think it was 1940.
I don't see.
No, dude.
No, there's hieroglyphics in Egypt.
But she said reported.
Well, I mean, if there's a hieroglyph, I feel like that's reporting.
Yeah,
That's,
the Bhagavad
it's the-
Gita is
it's
full
the-
of it.
It's easily the
The
least.
first newspaper is what you're trying
yeah,
to
it's
say?
it's the
Hieroglyphics?
least movable newspaper. But
We're not going to go down ancient alien territory, but you know the Mesopotamians and stuff like that, the Anunnaki, there was something in the sky.
I'm going with that. Y'all got it. Y'all still
Even the
give
Bible.
Oh, a
Give
year.
a year.
All right.
Give a year, man. Y'all got to give a year.
6122 BC.
10,000 BC.
Y'all are going to be disappointed. The first well-known UFO sighting was in...
Well-known. Oh, that was the caveat.
Y'all didn't hear the key
Then
word.
it's 1942, Roswell, New Mexico.
I said
Oh, I said
1940.
47.
That means I will
But
win.
That was crashed.
Hold on, wait. Let her give her answer.
The first well-known UFO sighting was in 1947.
Hey!
I'm smarter than y'all.
I think I said 47 though. You said 40.
You said
I
16
singled it down
BC.
to, yeah, but then I singled it down to 1947.
And is actually what gave rise to the term flying saucer to describe UFOs. Kenneth Arnold, a businessman in Mount Rainier, Washington, claimed to see a group of 9 high-speed objects while flying his small plane. He estimated their speed was several thousand miles per hour and reported they moved like, quote, saucers skipping on water, which then a newspaper incorrectly reported as objects themselves being saucer-shaped. So, flying saucers. In reality, Arnold described the shape of the objects as crescent-shaped.
They flew into a mountain, didn't they? Like if it's the one I'm thinking of, there was an incident
Or
where,
around it.
yeah, it was a like they
There's a Mount
believed that,
Rainier.
yeah, it
Yeah.
flew in he saw them either fly into, or maybe I'm wrong, but
Or I
it
think he flew into the mountain after he recorded it.
He flew into some
Oh my
shrooms.
God.
it was a short radio transmission back.
Definitely.
You're not
has-
gonna believe what I'm seeing here.
You know, I really thought that this was going to be easier for me to edit.
I just leave it in.
So, also in 1947, a rancher named W.W. Mac Brazel came across a 200-yard long wreckage near an Army airfield in
Roswell, New Mexico.
Yes.
Roswell, New Mexico.
I thought you were wanting a year.
No, I just said 1947.
Oh, sorry.
Are you even listening? You're closer to her.
Local papers reported what Brazil found was the remains of a flying saucer. The U.S. military's official statement was that it was a weather balloon, but only after Public Information Officer Walter Haut issued a press release in which he referred to the found object as a disc.
Gentlemen, if you'll step this way, you'll get to see the giant weather balloon that we haven't quite invented yet, but here it is.
Well, I know why he said that, and I know what the explanation for it being that is, but I'm not taking away from Amii's podcast.
We can actually discuss it because here I only say, which meant that plenty of citizens were wary that the government was trying to hide something.
Oh,
Like we still
not
are.
our government. Why would our government try to hide something?
Can I say? So the explanation is they were trying to hide something. So they would put these seismic.
Oh, it's alien.
Did you bite it?
No,
Did you swallow it?
No, it's back in there. I spit it
Oh,
Oh God.
God, dog.
I'm used to crunching my ice.
So, oh, no alien. I was like, did they get you?
I was about to start talking, and she's like, "No, it's aliens." I was like, "Fine." Goddamn,
I thought she
you're right.
swallowed the sucker. She.
True believer.
Go ahead, Zach.
So what? So during that time, it was Cold War, all that going on right after World War II, and everyone's testing nuclear weapons. And what they would do is put a microphone on the weather balloon and put it up in the thin atmosphere.
Okay.
And you could detect nuclear detonations.
Yeah.
Because it's such a thin atmosphere, you would detect the waves with a microphone on it.
Right.
And when it crashed, they didn't want anybody, much less Russians, finding out that, oh, are they putting microphones up there to detect? What are they doing that for? And
Right.
it's to detect. They may have done that, but that's not what that was.
I was gonna say. So I was curious as to what your belief was. What do you believe that it's the government's covering up some sort of an accidental?
Zach doesn't believe anything.
No, the thing is about Roswell, it is cloudy. Could it be that? Sure, but from people who helped load the wreckage came like regular Army privates. Like, no secret is going to be kept that well.
It's hard. Yeah, you're right. It's hard to.
Unless you threaten people.
Well, they came out, like multiple people came out, like who helped load the wreckage that are Army that were enlisted at the time. Have no reason to keep it secret. They were like, no, it was not a balloon. In any which way was it a balloon? The guy who owned the ranch still found more even after they left.
After they were gone,
and he's
yeah.
like, no, it's not a balloon. But they had that picture of a guy holding tinfoil and a couple sticks and
Yeah.
going like balloon.
Yeah.
No,
I don't think weather balloons are made of tinfoil though.
No, that doesn't. That doesn't make much sense either, but it could have been the apparatus, like the basket housing the microphone.
Maybe.
So I don't know, but
You don't think they made them sign NDAs?
You could at least show me the balloon part, right?
Yeah. Show us the end of it where you had to blow it up.
You don't believe you don't believe in NDAs back in the day, like
absolutely.
Them making them sign something to be like, hey, if you talk about this,
had it happened during the Twitter time, you would have passed it off as a punch post, like something you wouldn't have paid attention to. But back then, it's such taboo for me to be like, I'm gonna come out and tell you. Wasn't a balloon. They'd be like, "Oh, crazy man who worked on the Army."
They used to sell those magazines all the time, and like Winn Dixie, you know what they call. You know that magazine.
Not in 1947, my dude.
Nah, the Weekly Inquirer was crazy.
There's nothing better to do in the desert than make up some lies.
The public continued to be wary, and the conspiracy grew in 1950 when dummies with skin made of latex and bones made of aluminum that reportedly looked like aliens fell from the sky. Also in New Mexico.
And a lot of people in New Mexico were offended at the fact that they were all dummies.
Oh, and they're all going, is this a thing now?
Why do Mexicans love, why do aliens love Mexicans so much?
Whoa. What?
New Mexico?
Yeah. Why do they love that so much?
New Mexicans?
Open flat land, no trees to run into.
Well, it's different from the old Mexicans.
Oh, God.
The military quickly retrieved these dummies and declared that they were dummy drops to test for new ways for pilots to survive falls.
Oh, that's a brave toss there.
Is that a thing to do?
Again, if you had cell phones, you would have found like TMC footage of a guy rifle butting the dummy.
Yeah.
I'm just making sure.
Fast forward 50 years later, and the government's official story regarding the Roswell wreckage is that it was part of Project Mogul, a top secret atomic espionage project.
Yeah, and I kind of lean towards the idea that that's probably what it was, because we only, as far as like wreckage that's been found by people reported now, like for the most part, you don't see a whole lot of it, and I don't. With social media, you'd think that you would see it a lot more often.
That's why they say they actually don't see it anymore,
and not
because of cell phones.
Not to toot my own horn, but years ago when I was unemployed. I took free Stanford education
What part
courses.
were you tooting your own horn
Well,
to?
I was taking online Stanford courses that were for free on physics, and that professor actually discussed that whole thing.
Just to say you went to Stanford?
I did go to Stanford.
It's part of his 7 years, man.
That's not.
But despite the government's consistent stance that they were not UFOs, they were at least keeping tabs on these sightings. Officially called Project Sign, the U.S. Air Force began investigating reports of UFOs in 1948. Their primary concern was that with Cold War tension mounting, that these sightings were likely sophisticated Soviet aircraft. But some researchers suggested they could be from other worlds, the so-called extraterrestrial hypothesis, ETH. Project Sign was replaced by Project Grudge in 1949, and in 1952, Project Grudge was replaced by Project Blue Book.
Who was the guy that was the lead on the Project Grudge? That was
I cannot remember his name.
he played in Nirvana.
That's grunge.
Oh, my bad.
Lieutenant Kurt Cobain.
Colonel, sir.
Yeah, Admiral Kurt Cobain.
The longest-lived official inquiries into UFOs. This project was headquartered in Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Dayton, Ohio, and closed in 1969. The National Archives offers no information on sightings after that date, but the entire Project Blue Book has been declassified, and the records are available for examination in the National Archives.
I think there's still a lot of redactions in them. Like I've pulled them up.
Absolutely.
It's still really redacted.
Freedom of this information.
Yeah.
It's just.
Oh, you requested that? Well, you're gonna have to read through the black markers.
Oh, I've read. I mean, there's so many reports within Project Blue Book that you kind of get why they were like, well, turn it off eventually. But then you can read that. I've read that one for the most part, and then I've read Majestic 12, which I don't know if you have that in there, but Majestic 12 is very interesting as well.
Just to give a little conspiracy thing on that, with algorithms, they can control what goes viral, and I think the reason why there isn't a lot of videos right now, because if it is a legit video, I think they are concealing it and they're not letting it go viral.
There's a guy, and Logan Paul tried to buy his video, and he recorded it in 1992 of the most damning evidence of a UFO. Like, it's like really close. And Logan Paul actually recorded that guy showing it to him, even though the guy wouldn't sell. He had $100 grand cash to give him.
Gotcha.
And Logan Paul snuck it, and now Logan Paul has video of the video, but won't release it, probably because it gets sued massive.
Yeah.
100%.
So let's talk numbers. How many UFO sightings do you think have been reported?
In the last what?
You mean like total?
Since 1942?
Millions.
Yeah, I gotta assume there's got to be
I'll go with
hundreds of thousands.
I'm going with 32,000.
Ooh, very specific.
Yeah.
So in the 22 years that Project Blue Book was in play, there were 12,618 sightings reported to the project.
Well, if this was Price of Right, we all lost.
No,
I'm pretty close.
That's like 52 to 69 or 59, 69.
That's 12,000. I'm still in the running.
That's roughly 1.5 sightings a day for 22 years. But of those 12,618 reports, the government has debunked or explained all except for 701, which to this day remain unidentified.
And that's your swamp gas theory comes from Project Blue Book.
Oh, is it? Mm-hmm. The swamp gas aligned with the
Mercury in retrograde.
Yeah, with the
Venus. Yeah,
Venus swamp gas.
So there was a period of time where the government wasn't collecting official reports of UFOs or UAP sightings, but on November 26, 2021, the Airborne Object Identification Management Synchronization Group was established to synchronize efforts across the Department of Defense and other federal departments and agencies to detect, identify, and attribute objects of interest in special use airspace. This effort was renamed with an expanded scope on July 15, 2022 to the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, the AARO.
Arrow.
Different from the AARP.
But that's Arrow. Just letting you know.
We know you went. We know whose class you went to.
Stanford.
Initially, National Intelligence reported 144 sightings in a 2021 report, but just earlier this year, that number was 510. Due in part to some new reports and in part to some older ones that were discovered in files.
I
Just found them laying around.
The Mosul orb and stuff like that.
Those must have been the reports at Biden's house.
can't imagine how efficient the government is with their documentation.
That's what Trump was trying to bury.
Yeah.
An office within the Department of Defense has determined that about half of these additional 366 sightings display unremarkable characteristics. Of the additional sightings, though, 26 have been initially characterized as drones, 163 as balloon-like objects, 6 as aerial clutter, which leaves 171 unexplained, some of which exhibited, quote, unusual flight characteristics or performance and require further analysis.
And that's out of all of them in the United States that have been reported. There's only basically a handful of them that they just cannot figure out what they are.
Drones make a lot of sense though, because you got to think about
Drones have propulsion.
But think about this: we didn't have drones for a very long time. Like drones are a very new thing, so they had to be somebody that was testing them out. It had to be somebody that was flying them.
Yeah, but a drone still either flies under jet propulsion or propeller.
Yeah,
not if you make it look like a UFO.
But
but then you have IR, and so they can read.
You make it circular.
You can read heat signatures and stuff. And drones have batteries or obvious propulsion, make friction, show up, have signatures that you can tell. Plus, most of the ones we're talking about, especially the ones they can't say anything about, are because they don't have any of those. They'll stop on a dime, shift direction, and instantly reach terminal velocity.
But have you never seen the drone footage of somebody flying? They stop on dimes, they turn, they move quick.
Oh, you're talking about the quad drones, like quad propeller drones.
That's different. That's not. But
but those don't fly as high. Like a military drone will fly at 50, 60,000 feet.
But I'm saying you got to think about the drones that we have and the drones that military has. It has to be more advanced. It has to be you know what I'm saying? It has to be, but it has to look different.
The military doesn't report their own shit.
Correct. But if somebody sees that military flying object and they don't know it's from the military, they're going to be like, hey, that's an alien.
Well, see, when you fly, the one example, when they're flying off Virginia Beach in 2017 or whatever it was, they're not going to have you flying where their test stuff is. They're like, guess what vector you can't go to? This whole airspace.
And those drones were flying if that was a drone, it was flying just above sea.
And you got guys who've shot down missiles and have flown with other combative pilots going, oh my God, how this thing is blisteringly fast right now. When they'll see it coming at them and it flies past them at
5 or 6 times the speed that they're traveling towards it. And, and sometimes they catch it on their FLIR or, their, what is that? What is the FLIR?
But I do love the skepticism trick because that's what you need to approach it with.
Yeah, coming with it, man. You gotta find a way.
But these sightings certainly aren't all of them. And if you look closely enough, there are reports of what amounts to unidentified flying objects going back to antiquity. If you've listened to my podcast before, you know that Pliny the Elder and his writings come up a lot. Believe it or not, UFOs are strangely not an exception. In 76 BC, Pliny the Elder reported in chapter 25 of his The Natural History, a chapter called Ominous Appearance in the Heavens that was seen only once.
Oh, this is where okay. And apologies to my voice coach from like 1997. So,
well, you have a new voice coach. He's right here.
As he did it silently.
Come on.
All right. We have an account of a spark falling from a star and increasing as it approaches the earth, until it became the size of the moon, shining as through a cloud. It afterwards...
You're gonna make it so hard for me to edit.
Start it over.
Let me start over.
Start over. Here we go. I'm gonna give you some dramatic music when you start. All right, you ready?
No. We have an account of a spark falling from a star and increasing as it approaches the earth until it becomes the size of the moon, shining as through a cloud. It afterwards returned into the heavens and was converted into Olympus. This occurred in the consulship of Octavius and Scribonius. It was believed by Silenus, the proconsul.
It was seen by Silenus, the proconsul.
Proconsul. That makes more sense. Sorry. I'm going to start over.
Okay. I'm going to give you some real dramatic music so you can really get it right. You ready?
More green juice.
Are you ready? 1, 2, 3.
Oh!
All right, let me for her edit, let me do it again. We have a council of
Come on, Bear, get it right.
Try again.
There you go.
We have an account of a spark falling from a star and increasing as it approached the earth until it became the size of the moon, shining as through a cloud. It afterwards returned into the heavens and was converted into Olympus. This occurred in the consulship of Octavius and Scribonius. It was seen by Silanus, the proconsul, and his attendants. It would be difficult to reconcile this phenomenon with any acknowledged atmospheric phenomenon.
Do you want me to read it?
Do you want to try?
Yeah. God.
Are you about to read the same as that thing you read?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. You ready? You ready for your dramatic music?
Shut up, Trent. It's not funnier the fourth time.
It's pretty funny.
All right. We have an account of a spark falling from a star and increasing as it approached the earth until it became the size of the moon, shining as though a cloud. Damn it. Through. We have an account of a spark falling from a star and increasing as it approached the earth until it became the size of the moon, shining as through a cloud. It afterwards returned into the heavens and was covered. Damn it.
I didn't touch it until you messed up.
It's harder than it looks, right?
Go.
We have an account of a spark falling from a star and increasing as it approached the earth until it became the size of the moon, shining as through a cloud. It afterwards returned into the heavens and was converted into Olympus. This occurred in the consulship of Count Octavius and Scribonius. It was seen by Silanus, the proconsul, and his attendants. It would be difficult to reconcile this phenomenon with any kind of acknowledged atmospherical phenomenon.
All right, I'll take that. That was good. Congratulations.
It's pretty good, man. So you're going to blend both of their voices together?
Lord, I don't even know what's going to happen.
Say it like an oracle.
You know what's going to happen is I'm going to be like, we have an account of a spark falling from the star.
Oh, God, don't do that. We just tried so hard.
And quote.
Just try
Right?
so hard. Glad y'all didn't get me to read it, but you all good.
So like we had a sport.
By Simonius and Travius.
People was like, "Why?"
I don't know if you know, but Silas saw it too.
Silas and his brothers.
And a dude.
And I put that on our cracker, dude.
He said, "Damn, put that on a cracker, dude."
Even before the advent of UFOs or UAPs, sightings of otherworldly or unexplainable objects in the sky have been reported. So I'm going to be honest, a lot of this went sideways and I went into a lot of rabbit holes. There's a map of different sightings and pictures of tons of them. As far as actual estimated count of worldwide UFO sightings, other than the U.S. numbers I just spoke about, I couldn't find anything definitive.
Oh. I know the British had a
Italy has a
program.
ton.
Yeah, Italy. Russia's got tons.
The tons.
Yeah.
So at this point, we can talk a little more about some of the UFO sightings if you want to, because we're getting ready to shift into something else.
Sure.
Is that what you want to do?
Should we take a break first?
Well, no.
Said no editing.
See, that's where the dun 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 go. Yeah.
And quickly, Zach was put in his place, as if through a cloud.
Zach was put in his place by the corrector.
Because when we get to the end here, I have a line that says, so I don't think we can talk about UFOs without talking about who might be flying them. So are you ready to talk about aliens? And then you guys will say, yes, of course I'm ready. And then I'll say, too bad, we're going to break.
Okay. That's all I needed to know.
So UFOs are pre-break,
Spoiler
aliens are post-break.
Okay, fair.
I wish I would have knew that for the first part of the episode.
I'm trying to think of. I mean, as far as like alien or UFO crashes, I'm not certain that I know of a whole lot of them, except for like Roswell is one. And
That's
I know,
how they want it to be, Barry.
They
They
keep
don't
the
want you to
crashes
know.
down. Yeah, we could talk about them though. She's gonna have some.
No,
Oh.
I'm only going to, I'm not. I'm going to show you the map. Or actually, can I send it to you? And you can put it
Yeah,
there?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So she'll send me the map.
Okay.
So there's that.
She's
There's
the
that.
map.
I can't remember.
She's the
It's
map.
like Pavlov's Pass or something like that, where in Russia they found these hikers eventually where all their tongues and eyes were cut out of their heads.
Really?
Real? Whoa.
Yeah.
I've been watching the Secrets of the Skinwalker Ranch.
Robert Bigelow.
Yeah. Well, they've been doing it's been on for like 4 seasons. It's on the 4th season now, but
It's
that's-
interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much of it is,
Oh, that place is. There's a lot of legit, but how much is being? Because you're watching the one with the new guy who bought it.
Yeah.
Yeah. If there's an actual skinwalker, that would be freaking terrifying, dude.
Yeah, I don't know that I want to see that.
This map makes a lot of sense.
Those are from Native American folklore too, though.
This
Yeah.
map makes a lot of sense.
Oh, okay. Why is that?
Because not one in South Carolina.
Exactly.
Well, these are crashes, correct? These are reported.
Yeah,
No,
no
these
alien.
are sightings. So
Oh, these are just
you can
sightings.
actually hover over them and it'll tell you more. You can click on it, it'll tell you. And I was like, no, I can't go into every UFO sighting that
Right.
ever
Oh
happened.
no, we will just pick the stakes we like.
Well, I
See,
saw my
there's-
first UFO at Myrtle Beach, and I was like, okay, that's a thing.
What did you see?
Sure, it just wasn't a crackhead.
No, dude.
Okay.
Edited.
Did you put it on a cracker?
So like I'm on it was Gabrielle and her parents and her family were staying in this hotel room, and I was just out on the balcony, and I literally look up and see like the bottom of it was just dark, almost like a shadow going through the air really high, but around it was a dim light, and as it moved through, it was just hovering.
Huh.
But you could see it go through the cloud, come out of the cloud, and I'm talking like it wasn't so high up, but it wasn't a balloon or anything, because then it just went dark and gone.
You know they do those helicopter rides at night too.
It was quiet as hell, bud.
Okay.
A helicopter would be a lot higher than this was. Like it was like, I think it was on like dim mode or something, because there's nothing. I've seen Starlink, and at first I was like, holy crap, aliens. And then I was like, hold on, that looks like Starlink. So like I couldn't explain what this was
Okay.
at all.
Yeah, I have never actually. I can't claim to have ever actually seen one.
Yeah, that's the only time I've seen one.
It's so funny that it's a sighting at Area 51.
Well, yeah,
Because you sit on S4.
Can't nobody get in there? Who's seen that?
yeah, but no. So people will sit
Yeah.
like adjacent to it with cameras and whatnot, and they say they see things. They see things fly over all the time.
That's how Bob Lazar got caught.
Oh,
Because he was taking his buddies out there. He's like, I'm telling you, there's alien craft. And then eventually they got really loosey-goosey. He even brought an RV one time.
you know what's? So I went over to New Hampshire. I've actually hiked White Mountain.
Really?
So that's the area
Why
that
didn't you hike Black Mountain?
Oh, don't read that one because we're going to talk about them later.
Oh,
Betty
all
and
right.
Barney Hill?
Yeah.
Okay. I knew exactly what that one was.
Let's see, Fargo, North Dakota. So I can tell a story from a friend of mine who worked for the Air Force for years. He was in the Air Force from like 58 to 69 or 70.
And that's a friend of yours?
Yeah. So he worked.
High school buddies.
He worked. So he worked a radar station in North Dakota.
Okay.
And there were multiple radar stations all across the from the Pacific Northwest all the way across to Maine, and they're all in communication with each other. And he told this story about one night they watched something come out of Canada into Minnesota, and basically it crossed the United States in about a minute and a half. Wow. And radar all the entire way across. They watched it. They scrambled jets to go after it. They couldn't keep up with it. Like they had jets that took off somewhere near the others between Montana and Idaho. They scrambled jets out of an air base in Montana that intercepted it as it flew past them. Like and the pilots were on the radio. The radio is the audio is probably
Couldn't
something
have been the Blackbird.
Not like in a minute and a half. I mean,
It
the
depends on
Blackbird
how
flies
high.
fast.
What if
Yeah.
it was in 3-2 time?
Oh, you're talking about 5-4 time?
5-4
Thank you
time.
very much. 5-4 time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3. Yeah. Anyway, but that he told that story, and he was working the radar in North Dakota, in Fargo, North Dakota, and that was.
Could you imagine being woken up out of your sleep as a soldier and being like, "Hey, something's flying over us, go get it," and you like, as soon as you get into your thing, you're in the air, that thing just like.
But see, they
Yeah, been around the world twice and everything in it once. Ain't never seen nothing like that.
But when they talked about it and when they did briefing, when they had to do their briefing report afterwards, like it was labeled as something Russian. It had to have been something Russian. This had to be either some sort of supersonic jet or a supersonic missile, which we just recently unveiled that we have the U.S. has a supersonic missile.
Why we always blame our enemies? Why?
What else are you gonna do?
It's just
that's Occam's razor. The most common explanation should be the most reasonable explanation.
I don't know, man. I just don't see. If Russia has
Don't
something
tell
like
that.
that.
Don't tell
I
that to
just don't
Congress. That's how we got them listening right now.
But I'm just saying, I just don't see Russia like not using that to their advantage if they have something like that.
And guess what, Barrett? Trent. They think the exact same thing. They're going like, that's America.
You can see on there they've got some things that are just abductions. You've got some things where it's Air Force jet chases UFO and then it vanishes. That's down in Keweenaw.
Yeah.
Where? In north of Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Where? What did they say in Florida? What happened in Florida? I need to.
you want to see what happened in Florida? So that's
The
Florida
Everglades.
Everglades. So it says the sinister saucer, and I can't read it from here.
Scoutmaster Sonny somebody or another was driving some Boy Scouts near West Palm Beach when ...
Can we really trust a Boy Scout instructor?
So, was driving some Boy Scouts near West Palm Beach when they saw a bright light flash over the Palmetto Grove. He stopped to investigate and later emerged terrified with burns on his arms and a tail of a 30-foot diameter saucer that had enveloped him in a red mist. Grass in the grove was singed and its roots charred. So
he died? That's what they're saying?
No.
He was scared.
No,
And he was
just
burned.
frightened. But that's like, with some UFO sightings and that community, they crop circles are still a big thing. Like they're across England, there have been an increasing number of crop
I just
circles
never believed in
recently.
crop circles because I just don't
Well, you can't not believe in them. They exist.
No,
I mean,
but I'm
they're
saying I
real.
just don't believe the aliens did it. I just think they got better
Sure.
things to do with their time.
You would think a farmer does.
unless and I'm just gonna
But remember, we're the same people who put
letters on
Metal.
the side of a mountain in Los Angeles.
giant metal towers out in the desert.
Obelisks. Yeah.
Obelisks. I was
Who
worried I was
did
going to
that?
say it wrong.
Have they determined who it was that did that? Did somebody come
One
forward?
was from a YouTube group claimed it, but yeah, people made them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like there's like two shops who were like, yeah, we made them.
Oh, they were nicely
Like,
made.
if you were just to push it over, it has our signature underneath.
Right on the bottom.
Also, there's a camera that puts you on our live feed.
Yeah, there you go. See, that makes more sense. But yeah, in England they've had so many crop circles recently pop up, but they don't think that. I guess the
NBC did a documentary on that. And
But
it was like people that had like little contraptions where they step on it to push the grass down.
Yeah, it's called
I've seen
boarding
that.
a rope. Yeah,
I've seen that, but it's they're much more elaborate than that. They all go into the
Yeah.
same direction. They they will go down on it and they'll find where it like interweaves. And
So you believe in Sixth Sense?
do I believe in Sixth Sense? I
mean,
saw the movie.
right? Yeah.
Water's not beating them aliens. Let's just put that out.
Well, and that was Signs, not
Oh, Signs,
Yeah,
that's
but
what it was,
Sixth
Signs.
Sense was.
I know where
Dead
you're
people.
going. Hey, both M. Night
That's what I meant to say.
Shyamalan.
It's
the difference between aliens and
Same
dead people,
actor.
exactly.
Shyamalan.
All right, so I don't think we can talk about UFOs without talking about who might be flying them. So are you ready to talk about aliens?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, you're going to have to wait. We're taking a brief break.
All right, we'll take a break.
What's up? This is Neat the Geek, and you're listening to the All About Nothing podcast.
And we're back.
All right, welcome back to the All About Nothing podcast. Going to turn it back over to Amii for another segment of the Welcome to Wonderland.
We're in Wonderland.
And we're back and ready to talk about aliens. Again, we're going to start broad and then go down some rabbit holes. So broadly, what is an alien?
Not from here. Not terrestrial.
Well, it depends. Are we watching Fox News?
Yes, because I was about to say that.
It's anyone.
Yeah, their alien is not from America. So aliens.
Anyone not white, I guess, is what they consider.
So alien is not of Earth when you were talking about what we're talking about.
Yeah. Does alien is
Unknown.
Does alien actually like stand for anything?
Yeah, that's
Because I
what
know
I was about to ask,
ET is
too.
extraterrestrial.
Like
but-
FBI.
Alien just means strange to your norm.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. Yeah.
So
that
when
makes
we
sense.
go to Mars, we're the aliens.
So who coined the phrase alien?
Couldn't tell you.
Okay.
But if we're going dictionary definition, an alien is either A, a person who is not of a particular group or place, B, a foreign-born resident who has not been naturalized and is still a subject or citizen of a foreign country, or C, coming from another world, extraterrestrial. Ding, ding, ding. This
So
is the one we're going for.
Break down our root words. Extra, not of Earth. Terrestrial Earth.
That's right.
No way.
Stanford, guys.
So based on what is likely not firsthand experience, I'm going to guess, how would you describe an alien? Appearance, features, mannerisms, etc.
Well, again, I guess if I'm going for the Fox News definition,
Please don't.
oh, all right. So I will not then.
She's trying to broaden her audience.
Well, you get the triangle shaped head with the big eyes and the lack of most as far as like a mouth or facial features.
and then
It's
you got
very-
the tentacles.
So yeah, I mean, aliens, like you can go with Men in Black definitions where they show like a myriad of different ones, but you have your grays.
I like that word you use.
Yeah, the grays. That's who I was describing.
That's your
was the
big,
grays.
big black eyes, little nostrils, and mouth. Like a lot of people think those are humans from the future, whatever. But aliens can be just a stranger you meet that can be an alien. There's nothing that says it has to be humanoid or anything like that. You
Well,
know
there's
what
a
I mean?
lizard. The lizard people aren't those supposed to be like
Reptilians.
reptilians?
Yeah,
Those are aliens.
I don't agree. Yeah, see, now we're going into Fox News stuff.
Oh,
Like that's I don't know about all that crap, but yeah, like who knows what they really look. It's just strange, but I think their interaction would be more strange than their appearance at times.
I definitely think tentacles when I think aliens.
Like when he has the baby in the back seat.
Yeah, definitely.
the octopus
Yeah,
aliens.
Definitely. Because, we don't search the ocean, so I think that's what aliens are, man.
He's like, it's a boy, spits out all the goop.
So it's pretty evident that we think of a lot of different things when we think of aliens. Some people think of xenomorphs from the Aliens movies.
It annoys me during my Google searches when I type in alien and it just brings up the xenomorphs.
How many Google searches do you have on this?
On aliens.
Oh, even when I did gifts today, I wanted to type in aliens to send to you, and I was like, not the fucking xenomorphs.
So you sent me Denny's.
Yeah, that was funny.
Some people talk about little green men. Some people describe gray humanoids with enlarged heads and huge eyes. Some people say they look just like us. But since we're going down rabbit holes, let's talk a little more about where some of the specific descriptions come from. And I feel like it's a common alien stereotype, if you will, little green men. So any thoughts on where that description comes from?
That's like
Martians, right?
Mizzleplex or whatever. Who's the one from
Looney
Mars
Tunes?
Attacks.
Are you talking about the Looney Tunes or?
Flintstones? They had like
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
yeah.
He was a fast talking New Yorker.
I cannot remember his name. I'd never think of aliens as little green men.
Yeah, I don't know.
But Marvin the Martian.
Yeah, Marvin the Martian was one.
So
Mars Attacks.
Yeah, Mars Attacks.
yeah,
They had
Yeah.
Tim
That was-
Burton film.
that was a good movie.
That was a
I
very
liked
good
it.
movie.
Natalie Portman, young age.
Oh, I didn't
Yeah,
realize that.
yeah. It's weird. There's so many famous people in that movie that you're
really
like, oh
is.
my god.
We still got two. What was it? We still got two branches of the government, and that ain't bad.
So as far as little green men go, again and again in my research, this one came up as to likely predating sci-fi stories going back to 12th century English legends known as the Green Children of Woolpit, in which two children, a brother and a sister, mysteriously show up in town. They look normal in appearance, except that their skin is green. They also speak a different language. After several years and learning to speak English, the sister explains that she and her brother came from a land where the sun never shone and the light was like twilight. But as far as science fiction goes, the use of the term little green men dates back most often to the 1940s. Harold Lawler used the term in his story Mayaya's Little Green Men in Weird Tales in 1946. In 1955, Frederick Brown's popular science fiction novel Martians Go Home, the aliens, from Mars in this instance, were small, green-skinned invaders who spent their time playing annoying and embarrassing tricks. References to little green men can be seen on TV in the 1960s with the Flintstones, Great Gazoo,
Greg Gazoo.
That's
there
what
he
it
is.
was.
and Star Trek's Tomorrow is Yesterday. 1988 saw mention of little green men in Doctor Who, and more recently, Toy Story also brought us little green men with their depiction of aliens.
Claw.
Why do you think? Oh man, I lost it.
I saw it like leaving you
It evaporated almost as soon
the
as
claw,
it started.
you messed me up.
because you saw that scene.
No, what I was thinking was, okay, so a lot of black babies when they're born, their backs will be green. Like,
Oh, really?
yeah,
Huh.
it's actually like a thing.
There's a lot of Chinese babies that their backs are purple, like a blue purple thing.
Yeah, so it's like when they're born for some reason, like I'm not sure what goes on. It's a word for it, but I don't want to say the wrong word for it. But a lot of people just be.
Is that word that closely adjacent to another word, or is it?
Nah, I just don't know what's it called. You know what I mean?
Do you think somebody was like, look at that little green man?
I was born with a tail, so
You was?
Yeah.
Well, that's what happens.
You want
when
to see it?
You're born.
Yeah, let me see.
He's like, I just see your butthole, Barrett.
You have to look real close.
Definitely getting edited.
Yeah, I do.
So folklorist and UFO researcher Chris Aubick has stated that the term little green men was in popular use long before UFOs ever came onto the scene, but its transition from the world of folklore to ufology was seamless. The earliest example that Aubick was able to find of a green alien was in a short story published in the Atlanta Constitution in 1899 called Green Boy from Hera. The author describes the boy as being funny-looking with green skin that was as green as a maple leaf in midsummer, wearing a silken cloak the color of old gold. When the story's protagonist asks where he's from, the boy tells her he's from Hera. And when she asks where Hera is, the boy points to the sky. The protagonist assumes that Hera is a star.
Interesting.
And while Little Green Men is a popular depiction of aliens in literature and entertainment, it's typically the gray aliens, also referred to as Zeta Reticulans, who are the frequent subjects of close encounters and alien abduction claims. So what do you know about gray aliens?
I know where Zeta Reticuli comes from, and we'll get there. But the gray aliens, a lot of the theories that I know
Those
is
are the probers.
Yeah, well, they have to be, right? They're the ones who are the most reported. But they're the ones that people think, in general, they are humanoid, and their heads are so big is because they don't have to do anything else. It's all telepathic.
Yeah.
It is all. They have big eyes to see what they need to see, but they don't need to eat like that we eat. They don't need to smell like we smell. They don't need to do any of that like they're futuristic human beings.
Just to clarify, no one needs to smell like you smell.
Yeah, well, whatever. But when it comes down to it, they think they're futuristic human beings just because we've evolved to a point, and they're kind of just back here to study us, and that's why they would abduct us.
Traveling back in time from the future to study humans
In the past. So, like, you don't have to... If you're able to come from Zeta Reticuli, the star system, to here... You are going close to the speed of light, beyond the speed of light when it comes to like warp and stuff, time is nothing to you at that point.
Sure.
You need a massive energy source, and we have solid theories on how you could do that. And so, but if you're able to be like these grades of civilization where you harness the power of a star, in your grade 2, you can harness multiple stars. You have that energy to do that.
Interesting.
That's called a Dyson sphere.
There was a video recently that was taken. I want to say it was either a year ago or a couple of years ago. That was there was some sort of transparent object that they got image or video of that was near the sun. That while it was parked near the sun, you couldn't see the object,
right,
but you could see the effect.
Stream.
Yeah, you could see the effect that it was having on the sun, which was basically a stream of plasma was coming out and then seemed to be being fed into something. And then when the object moved away, there was wake. Of,
So the sun was a gas station for a spaceship.
basically, that was the idea.
And essentially, it could be if you could do it. But y'all remember the story that they saw a star that would basically go dark infrequently?
Like a ring world.
Yeah, and they could not figure out why. So Dyson spheres, which is how you would harness it, is basically a big sphere that you put around the sun, and it would make it dark, but it would also open up at some points. And they were like, the people on the fringes of it are going like, Dyson sphere, that's exactly how you would expect it to act. The theory that, let's call it reasonable people, and fair enough they are.
It's a large planet.
I think a comet was passing at the time.
Gotcha.
That would block off the light that we were seeing, and the tail would do it again.
Oh, I see.
And that kind of thing. I don't know if they're still monitoring it. The government probably covered it up. It's fine.
Yeah, they always do.
So the gray aliens are typically described as being human-like with smallish bodies. They're described as having gray, smooth skin and large, hairless heads and large black eyes. This image was popularized in 1961 in New Hampshire after the Barney and Betty Hill abduction claim. Betty Hill is also indirectly responsible for the Zeta Reticulan's name. Zeta Reticuli is a binary star system in the southern constellation of Reticulum. It's located approximately 39.3 light years from Earth. Under hypnosis after her abduction claim, Betty drew a map that she claimed she was shown that displayed the aliens' home system and nearby stars. In 1969, a school teacher by the name of Marjorie Fish attempted to create a model based on Betty's drawing and eventually determined that the stars marked as the aliens' home were Zeta Reticuli.
Interesting.
That's the thing about that. I have goosebumps now because she has no reason to know that at all. Also, there's no reason to think because they ran from this UFO that was chasing their car.
Yeah.
And they both got hurt from it for one, and the car tested radioactive as well. The fact that when she got abducted, I don't get why an alien would give her a tour of the ship. That's kind of funny. But the fact that
probing.
she mapped something that an astronomer later was able to go that she's dead on.
Yeah.
Well, but when they put him, Barney Hill, under hypnosis, he lost his mind. He was screaming and all this stuff because he was hurt. Apparently, hurt from it.
And there was a significant amount of time that they lost.
We're going to talk about them specifically when we talk about abductions.
Okay. But yeah, there was. I want to say I remember there being some sort of significant amount of time that elapsed that they can't account for.
And they came back to their car, I believe, but we'll talk about it.
Yep.
I'll talk about it broadly, then we can go more in depth to it. So among reports of alien encounters, grays make up about 50% in Australia, 73% in the United States, 48% in continental Europe, and 12% in the UK. A quick note here, it turns out that UFOs and alien abductions are primarily a phenomenon in English-speaking countries. I'm not sure the relevance, but I thought that was interesting.
Language barrier, I would bet.
There's still got to be words for it.
Well, then how do you attribute that in your own country, in your own beliefs, and all that?
I don't know. There's a video in Iraq of of some sort of unidentified aerial phenomenon flying. Yeah, that's pretty significant. And the U.S. they allowed for this information to get out there. And I think when they do that, what they're looking for is, because the United States government's pretty good as far as technology, and they can identify things, and they have people that are experts at video editing and whatnot. But I think the reason that they release things like this is hoping to get some sort of input from
civilians.
Civilians and whatnot, just so that they get add to the information maybe.
And they more recently had a second Mosul orb happen.
Oh, does
as
it?
well. Yeah, and it does just look like a big, like a, you know how when you look at a BB, you can see like it was welded together or
Yeah.
something like that. It looks like that moving across the screen, but like kind of big.
Yeah.
But it happened again. Like I don't know. Could it be a BB that they're just catching like kids shooting at? I don't know.
No way.
So while researching grays, I also learned of a skeptic, Frederick V. Malmstrom, who in 2005 presented the idea that grays are actually residual memories of early childhood development. Think about what you're told about how infants perceive the world. Malmstrom's supposition is that the murky skin color, the enlarged eyes, no additional discernible features may actually be vague memories of our mother's faces as perceived through the senses of an infant.
Oh, that's interesting.
That's fair.
I don't know if I mean, it seems like a stretch to me, but it's an interesting idea.
I mean, it's like you can put the craziest idea forward, and the burden of proof lays on the person putting that crazy idea forward. But at the same time, you go, that's super interesting. Like maybe it is maybe it is just some phenomenon in their head.
Your brain just firing off these early.
But and you mentioned all those countries talking about grays. One of the most that had the most witnesses of it was in South Africa. All these school children came running out, and there were like really tall grays that came out, and it's hundreds of children and teachers who saw these, and then there's kids saying that they were speaking to them telepathically.
Oh, wow.
About it, and they're all like 30 now, and there's a documentary of that as well. I don't know. It could literally be anything, but that's why they kind of need to land and tell us.
You won't believe until that happens, huh?
Not fully, no.
So largely, skeptics believe that pop culture is the reason why the specific image of grays lives on. A case of life imitates art, imitates life. Like with much of the conversation we've already had today, most of the sightings and stories are of a modern era. But there's potentially some earlier entertainment that may have given life to these images.
Michael Jackson.
Earlier than that. In 1891, a novel called Maida, A Tale of the Future, was published by Kenneth Follingsby, in which the narrator encountered small, grade-skinned aliens with balloon-shaped heads. In 1893, H.G. Wells gave us futuristic human description in The Man of the Year Million, describing humans as having no mouths, noses, or hair with large heads. He also described a similar successor species to humans in The Time Machine in 1895.
Yeah.
The Time Machine was terrifying.
From there, you've got Mars Attacks, Men in Black, Third Rock from the Sun, Independence Day, Fire in the Sky, Contact, the Aliens movies, and even Indiana Jones.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
So-
can we just forget?
That's what
Can
I
we just
told you.
forget the crystal skull?
So, what are some of the other portrayals of aliens in pop culture?
Oh.
I mean, you said them all. K-Pax was a great movie.
Yeah, that was a good movie.
What's
Contact.
the
Contact
John
was good.
Travolta movie?
Oh, are you talking about the one where?
Talking
Hey.
about Phenomenon?
Phenomenon, yeah.
Yeah, but he wasn't an alien; he had a brain tumor.
That was part of it.
Oh,
That
yeah.
the tumor was put into.
Yeah, because he
they
saw a
the
UFO
light,
and yeah.
The box was inexplicably an alien movie.
yeah.
Was it really?
Spoiler.
I didn't get that out of that.
Signs? We kind of touched
Yeah,
on
Signs
signs
was-
being one. There's tons. Paul.
Yeah, Paul was fantastic.
X-Files.
I mean,
X-Files
About
whatever.
to say, the whole-
There's nothing. Outer Limits, of course, they did that as well. They're everywhere. I mean, Star Wars, Star Trek, all
Yeah.
of them.
yeah.
Aliens are so much more interesting than us. Like that is the theme of it.
Sci-Fi Channel, basically.
Yeah,
History
like, so
Channel.
you could
Most of
probably-
the History Channel.
You probably get abducted by aliens and be like, "So, you want to play spades?" Absolutely, deal them.
You haven't watched this season of The Curse of Oak Island? It's all aliens. man.
Oh, there it is. There it is. Oak Island making its appearance.
Oh, and now we almost forgot. Stranger Things turned into aliens.
Did it?
Remember?
I don't remember that.
You don't remember Stranger Things? Like
It's not aliens.
That was demons or
that was demons.
yeah.
Yeah, upside down.
Oh, it definitely looked like. An
I
alien
guess,
to me.
Trent, by the definition of alien, it should be actually because it's a different dimension. It's the upside down from
Definitely,
D&D.
definitely hit on that.
Okay.
Okay, so now we're going to move to alien abduction. But I'm going to preface this section with the fact that as far as I can tell, there is little to no physical evidence of alien abduction seemingly out there.
Ha!
Because they don't believe nobody.
But regardless of that, we're diving down this hole. So what is alien abduction?
Taking a against your will. That's a close encounter of the fourth kind.
Yeah, I
right?
was gonna say. So there's close encounters. The first is vision. You see it. Second,
hear it.
hear it, see it, and then
like physical interaction with it.
Yeah.
And then fourth is
kind
abduction.
is abduction. Or is it? Yeah, fourth kind. That was a great movie.
With
Yeah.
Mila Jovovich or whatever.
Yeah,
his
yeah,
name is,
yeah.
right?
That's
That
your
was a great
paranormal
movie.
activity.
Y'all
of
was
aliens.
saying it out like y'all been abducted before.
No, that's what it is. I think it's hearing or visual, but then it definitely feels it's visual. Then it's interaction with it, like getting burned or whatever. And then the fourth kind is abduction. Yeah, he's gonna Google all the kinds of abduction.
Get on it, Jamie.
I just want to see. No. Come on.
Come on, Jamie.
Put an alien in front of abduction.
Oh yeah. All right. Let me do that then. Y'all keep talking. I'll find
Oh,
it.
yeah.
Just type in kinds of encounters, encounter kinds or kind levels, because that is fourth is abduction, third is interaction, second is either seeing. And I can't remember the first.
Yeah. So I'll get close encounters. There you go. So let's see.
Nike scale.
Hanky scale. So nocturnal light. So lights in the night sky. UFOs seen in the daytime. What is this? This is
Back out because there was actually one that
was there?
I saw that listed. Down one more.
this one right here. Oh, first and second and third kind.
Okay, so yeah.
Let's see. So first kind is you spot something in the sky that leaves no evidence. Second is a UFO leaves some physical trace, burns on the
That's
ground.
that's the one
yeah,
we
that's
were
what it was.
missing.
And then you make contact with a UFO. You see some alien pilot aboard.
And then fourth is the abduction.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is pretty straightforward. Alien abduction refers to the phenomenon of people reporting being kidnapped and subjected to physical and or psychological experimentation by an alien. Most scientists and mental health professionals attribute these claims from abductees to factors such as suggestibility, false memories, deception, straight up lies, psychopathology, brain chemistry, or most often, sleep paralysis, which often comes with auditory and visual hallucinations while also experiencing the inability to move.
Gimbal. And you're right about that because I watched Gabrielle has a video of her being hypnotized with a bunch of other people on stage. She goes, I don't remember any of it. And I was like, that's such BS.
Why didn't you go up there?
I wasn't there. I didn't know her at the time.
Oh,
I'm just like, no one, there's not a hypnotist in the world is going to make me walk around like a chicken on stage. I just don't believe it.
Yeah.
I don't have that kind of
we
suggestibility.
gotta find one.
I bet we could find a hypnotist.
You should get a hypnotist, and I want to come watch that one.
Patreon goal. I am willing to be hypnotized to see if they can make me do anything. I guarantee you it won't happen.
Well, if you don't believe, sir, it won't work. You have to believe some sort.
Yeah, Jesus said the same thing.
God damn.
Do you believe that?
God damn.
So despite this, millions of people, usually American, claim that they've been abducted.
That felt like a
Little green men.
Slight.
Attack, yeah.
Yeah.
There are support groups throughout the United States where people come together to share their own abduction stories. There are two landmark cases for alien abduction: the Hills, who I mentioned a few minutes ago, and a Brazilian named Antonio Vilas Boas in the 1950s. Basically, Boas was a young farmer. He was in his 20s, and he was working his fields at night in October of 57
As you do.
Who works their field at night?
We've all seen Nope.
because it was just too hot during the day. He claims he saw a red star in the sky that approached where he was, increasing in size until he recognized it as a roughly circular or egg-shaped aerial craft with a red light and a rotating cupola on top.
And he said, Dios mío.
The craft descended to the field, extending 3 legs as it did. This concerned Boas, and he did what I imagine most people might do in that situation. He
Peed his
took
pants.
off.
Oh.
It's disturbing.
Should we start an abduction con?
He took off, first on his tractor, but that died only a short distance away, so he began to run when a humanoid, roughly 5 feet tall, wearing gray overalls and a helmet, grabbed him and dragged him back to the spacecraft.
This is Go ahead.
I'm not going to get into the nitty gritty of what he says happened, as this podcast is suitable for all ages. But if anyone is interested, let me know and I'll send you some information on it. Okay, so now I am going to get into the all about nothing audience. I am going to tell you. So I'm going to edit this part out of mine because it's totally not appropriate.
Yeah, let us know what he got probed with.
So
He got
basically,
plowed.
this guy is dragged onto the spaceship where he says that he's then stripped totally naked and covered head to toe in goo. They take him into a large room,
start.
and it has symbols,
Saturday night.
which he memorizes and drew for investigators, but they didn't mean anything to him. They took samples of blood from his chin.
As you do.
Then they took him to another room where they left him alone for like 30 minutes and then pumped some sort of gas into the room until he got violently ill everywhere. Not long after getting sick, though, he's joined by a female humanoid.
He's like, fuck her, go.
He lied on that part. It was a
According
male.
to
He just
him-
didn't want to say.
According to him,
I was the female that night.
she's very attractive.
Of course, she gonna say that.
And
This is in Brazil. It's obviously the Chiquita Banana
And
chick.
he's like, I don't even mind.
This
the
man was
dick.
in a big room full of tapestries, and he just drew what he's seen on the wall.
she is also naked.
Of course.
He says she's about 5 foot tall.
Do you think that's a requirement? Wait, 5 foot tall? So
Same as the other one.
just barely out of the ranking of being a little person.
That's a tall That's a tall farmer. You think?
Little green
Brazil.
woman. I'm intrigued.
She's got a small. She's gray. She's got a small pointed chin and blue cat-like eyes.
Oh, she's a gray.
Yes.
Oh, I thought she was another
Is
abductee.
Paul with a
But aren't the Grays supposed to be
She's
tall?
Like, no, they're short. They're like 5.
Oh, okay.
So no, she's short though, and she's apparently beautiful. He says that she's got this long, flowing, like platinum blonde hair.
It was a wig.
On her head, but bright red, fiery red hair under her arms and for her pubic hair.
Of course.
Bro, I'd be like,
She was a fire crotch.
I would have an innie. I'd be putting somebody in a head. I'd put that bitch in a headlock. But yes, come here.
put
Got
this-
you now. Bring him in. I want out of the room.
Apparently, though, this guy's super attracted. Like, he's very turned on by her.
Of course, he's a farmer.
He got
that
gas
works at
before
night.
that.
Yeah, he's like everything has come out of all of my holes, but I am here now.
And she's somehow not turned off. So
Yeah.
these two
Engage.
engage. They do the naughty.
This sounds like if Trent got abducted.
Yeah, exactly.
This is the same story I would tell.
He tells the investigators that during the act, she doesn't
he
kiss him
want
at all or anything. She makes little yip noises and nips at his chin.
It's like he's banging a chimp.
Just like he's thinking.
So when it's all
This is how AIDS
over,
got started.
God,
The story of AIDS.
when it's all over, she smiles at him and then rubs her belly and points to the sky, which he then interprets as she's going to raise the baby that they just made
And take it to the sky.
in the space. Right.
This is Fox News.
Which I guess he was cool with.
I guess the baby's going to have some higher learning. You get it?
Then he
Higher.
shut up.
God damn it. He's like, yeah, that's mine. I don't know about the red pubes. That's his mother. He's got my nose, though.
Grows hair like an orangutan.
That's new
I don't
for
know
you
what the
people,
deal
ain't
is.
it?
So he then
God.
tells investigators that the female seemed relieved when the task was over.
So he pleased her.
And then, no,
I don't think he did.
no, she's relieved. Like, he's angry, in fact, about her reaction because he felt like he was just being used as a good stallion for the aliens.
Oh, he wanted a cigarette. He's like, no.
So after she leaves, they give him his clothes back, give him a tour of the spacecraft, and then
In a robe.
escort him off the ship.
This sounds like a college dorm party.
Where's Ashton Kutcher? Yeah, you may be begging alien.
When he gets home,
Hey, you actually got a barcode. I think this is more serious than we thought.
he gets home, and it's like 4 hours later. He has no idea where his time went other than this.
That is so
Good Lord, 4 hours.
He was a good stallion.
I'm gonna start shooting lasers in the sky.
Facts.
Where are we at? Where are we at?
if it's gonna get my numbers up to that, we all need a little help. 4 hours?
Oh, is this guy Austin Powers?
He had to call his doctor after that.
telling you.
He's like, I don't know what that is. But you have red pubes now. Did you know that? Have they always been there?
That's crazy.
Those aren't yours.
Why would he say red pubes out of everything
Bright
he could
red.
have said?
And underarm hair. So
Dude,
this
you
one
just
was-
met a French woman. That's all it was.
She's French? I would have thought like Irish.
Well, no, it said he could see all the pubes.
Oh.
You said pubes out of her armpits.
Those are pubes. Don't make it wrong. These are pubes. Come on.
I guess you got a point.
All right, moving on.
You got a point.
Okay, Amii, this is where you can come back to Wilson and Wonderland.
All right, here we go.
Back to
right.
sanity.
So the other landmark case was the Hills. I mentioned these folks earlier when I spoke of the gray aliens in Zeta Reticuli. According to the Hills, they were driving back from a nice Canadian vacation in September of 1961.
Hey?
It was nighttime, and Betty believed she saw a falling star until she saw it move upward. The glowing object in the night sky moved erratically and grew bigger and brighter. So Betty asked Barney to pull over so she could look at it through binoculars and also to walk their dog.
As we carry in our cars, you have binoculars in your car.
Baird, I know for
okay.
sure you got
I'm telling
binoculars
you,
in your bag.
in the 50s, for sure.
Also, they were at Niagara Falls. So they
that's-
Fair enough.
Well, what do you need binoculars for in Niagara Falls?
Because you're not in the
You can't-
waterfall, bro.
So before
But you don't. If
No,
you're
no.
there, you just see it. You
No,
don't
no.
have to.
you got to see the barrel lady go down.
the path, there wasn't a whole trail built out to go check out the falls, and there wasn't boats that handle the turbulent.
Oh, okay. So it's not like the tours that
No,
happening
not
now.
the tours they have now.
Oh, okay.
It's a different thing now.
Say less.
No cap.
So eventually the object in the sky drew so near that Barney went to get a better look with the binoculars in one hand and his pistol in the other.
Okay, Barney.
He claims to have seen 8 to 11 humanoid figures
Oh.
who were looking out the window of the spacecraft. He claims that one of the humanoids communicated with him telepathically to stay where you are and keep looking.
Man, he threw gang signs at him from the window. Stay there.
I don't know if it's Morse code or
Stay there.
Los
that
Angeles County Police are asking that Los Angeliners please do not shoot at the spacecraft.
yeah.
That is crazy. What do you think?
The couple eventually arrived home around dawn, but insisted that things were amiss. Their watches stopped and would never tell time again. The strap from the binoculars was torn, though neither recalls it tearing. The toes of his dress shoes were scraped. Her dress was torn and had a pinkish powder on it. The powder blew away when she hung the dress out on the clothesline, but 5 laboratories have conducted chemical and forensic analysis on the dress in the years since the reported abduction without remark. And did you see anything different with that?
No, but it was in the car too. And apparently the psychologist. I
What, the
think-
pink dust?
Yeah, it was on the car too.
Is that how they? Never mind.
And there was radioactive material. Like the car itself, the paint was no good after that. And I believe they got burned. Like it was hot because they drove away from
Right.
it for a long time. But they had every encounter. Saw it. There's traces. The third one was seeing them. They saw the craft, had traces of having the craft in their vicinity,
And they interacted.
They saw them, then they interacted. Yeah,
So you think they had like a 4-way with like everybody?
Well, they said they extracted fluids from them as well.
Right.
That's part of it. In not a pleasant way, not like the Brazilian guy had.
But a lot of scientists and psychologists, so even when she went under hypnosis, it was shortly after pop culture videos have come out.
She was on TV shows too.
And so they really, a lot of this is attributed to her being false memories. Like
Correct.
them being in her head and her recalling them as her own memories. I actually don't have anything else on the hills unless you have
Well,
other things.
the accuracy of some of the things that were, and there's even been more that's happened afterwards. Like their granddaughter was on Rogan's at one time, and he only made the connection after she was already off, and she was like, "Oh no!" Like because that was her grandparents. She was like, they 100% till they died were like this happened.
Well, and he died a lot earlier than her.
Yeah, he did. Interracial couple, aliens.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Which a lot of people actually said that was a way for them to bring attention because apparently they said that the aliens were very preoccupied with the different colors of their skin.
Yeah.
So a lot of people felt like it was a way for them to bring attention to interracial marriages and dating and in a time where that wouldn't have been acceptable.
in a time that you don't want to be in the news for being in an interracial marriage at all. Like it's there's so many things, like especially her with the map part. That's kind of like, all right, well, how do you just guess that? I don't think you do.
Right.
I don't know. Again, it's one of those things you're like, that's crazy. And why at some point, especially being interracial in the 50s or well, it was the 50s, right?
Yeah.
Why would you bring attention to yourself like that? And at any point, I mean, you are all the way that far up north, but still not something you're like want to go on Jerry Springer about.
And was mushrooms big back in the day?
I don't think so.
But they were kind of straight laced, man.
That Canadian maple syrup.
Ooh.
So there have been television episodes about this case, books written. Carl Sagan has discussed it in Cosmos. Aspects of their story were used in episodes of The X-Files, Dark Skies, and even American Horror Story.
Yep.
So part of the reason these two cases are considered to be the landmark cases is because they establish basically canon for alien abductions moving forward. Essentially, most abduction stories follow a very similar script, even though some of the details are changed. So have you heard of any compelling stories of alien abduction that make you think maybe it's true?
Yeah, there was a guy. I cannot remember the state, but he was a logger. And
Fire in the Sky.
yeah, so yeah, it was. I have not seen the movie, but they were out there logging, and they all saw the light, and this guy was like, "Well, I'm going to go to it.
Yeah.
like that's what I'm going to do." And he was abducted, and he was gone for a very long time.
It was 4 or 5 days.
Yeah, he was gone for a very long time, and eventually he was dumped on the side of the road, and they actually like really did hurt him.
Well, and not only that, but like the men that he was in the truck with, because there were 5 or 6 other men in the truck that saw him go into a field in the middle of a forest. He gets out of the truck, goes into the middle of the field, and a beam of light hits him, and then apparently begins to pull him up into the air and like lifts him up into the air, and at that point they took off. And from that point, like they as soon as they got to a town where they
were scared to get out of the truck.
Yeah, but as soon as they got to town, they called the police.
Yeah.
And like the police did a search for 3 days in the area they were looking for.
Could not find him.
Not anywhere. And then all of a sudden he just turns up.
On the side of the road.
See, Barry, this is why I will never go camping with you, because I think that you would go into that said field if we were out.
Dude, that brings me to a question, but I'm not going to take over Amii's podcast. But like, that is like that doesn't happen every day. What else? I don't blame him for doing it.
I'm going the opposite way, Zach.
I know.
Just
Frank.
letting you know.
And I'm sending somebody who's with me to go check it out.
Which will be Barrett.
I'll go with you, Barrett. We'll go.
Y'all go check it out together.
If that's how I go, that's how I go.
Yeah.
Let's see what I mean.
Me
See,
and
I'm
Barrett
not
will come
thinking
back
about
and we just be like, we don't talk about it.
I've lived as long as I care to live anyway, so it's not like
He's
Stop
like,
saying that.
he's like, it's not Nova Scotia.
drop me off in Norway.
While I'm here.
Alien abductions and UFO sightings tend to be met with some skepticism, especially from the scientific community. But certainly, it's hard to be a scientist and think that the possibility of life on other planets isn't possible. Well-known astrophysicist Neil deGrasse Tyson
My boy.
That's Zach's boy.
shared his thoughts on aliens in an interview with CNN.
Do you believe that there is life out there somewhere?
I would say that if there weren't life, it would be astonishing. Given how common our ingredients are and how quickly life took place here and how many planets we know are